So, welcome everybody. My name is Vinny Tafura. I'm the Executive Director for Gasparilla Interactive Conference, which will be held this March 10th and 11th, Ybor City at the Hillsborough Community College Ybor City campus on their main stage theater, and also in the Performing Arts Building is where we'll be having our expo as well. And so, here this morning with Gracie Lee and the Carl Vervish to do some announcements about not only Gasparilla Interactive, the content we're going to have and what our plans are, but also on some of our community partnerships. And Gracie Lee is on location right now at Tampa Bay Wave and representing also Tampa Bay Startup Week. And so let me just go through, and I guess each of you start with Carl if you want to introduce yourself. And
Yeah, so hi, I'm Carl Vervish. I'm president at Social Forces, and I'm excited to get into this. This is the second time I've been involved with a webcast with Vinny. Many years ago, we produced a separate webcast for the advertising industry. So excited to get things going today. And Gracie, welcome to the show, as it were.
Thanks. So I'm Gracie Stemmer. I represent Tampa Bay Startup Week as the chairwoman and lead organizer. Our event is going to be February 8th to 12th. It'll be in various locations in downtown Tampa. Its goal is to celebrate entrepreneurship in Tampa Bay and continue the momentum throughout the year. We have over 80 events that we'll be hosting that week. We'll have a headquarters at District 3. We've got over 13 tracks or topic categories that all the events will fall under. We've got a national pitch competition that's happening throughout the week, an opening ceremony on Monday night, the 8th, and a closing party on Friday, the 12th. So lots of really cool stuff that's happening that week. So thank you guys for having me. This is pretty cool. I think I'm gonna have to host a blab of my own maybe in the future.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, thanks.
So it was interesting you talked about the 13 tracks. Can you tell us about some of those?
Yeah, for sure. So lots of different topics that we're covering. So some of the more exciting ones are we have a track called Internet of Things where we'll be having 5 or 6 events throughout the week that talk about connected devices and how the Internet of Things is changing technology. And probably the coolest thing is we'll have some drones, some industrial sized drones that we'll have at the events. We have a fashion track. And we'll have some events around fashion and technology and leveraging technology within the fashion industry. We have a developer track that touches on everything development-wise, and we're also doing a kids thing as a part of that track to teach them to code.
Oh, cool.
We have a craft beer track where we're incorporating some of the local craft breweries here and how they utilize technology and how the entrepreneurship side of craft brewing and breweries and home brewers. Lots of different stuff. Veteran, maker stuff, health and fitness. We have an entrepreneurial toolbox where we talk about business models and pricing strategy. Lots and lots of different stuff that's covered over the week. So it should be really exciting.
That's really neat. So within those individual tracks, how many modules would you say are there set up for each one of those?
So each track is hosting between 3 and 6 events throughout the week.
Okay.
Some of them are all at a single location. Some of them take place at various different locations. If you go to the website, tampabay.startupweek.co, all of the events are listed there, and you can RSVP and see. Some of them overlap. So, for example, like our IoT track is doing a UX within IoT, and so that overlaps with the design track, and so there's lots of lots of stuff going on.
Awesome. That's really cool. So within your organization, do you have specific people that get excited and run the individual tracks, or is there one person that kind of oversees the whole thing? It sounds like you're really involved with the overall organization of the event as chairwoman, I would imagine.
Yeah, so there's lots of people involved in putting on Startup Week this year. We've got about 50 people that are involved. And so kind of the way that, yeah, it's crazy. So kind
and
of
those are all volunteers, right?
Yes, yeah, they're all volunteers. Yep. So the way that works with the tracks is we have an organizing team of about 13 people. And then we have individual track captains, or an individual person that leads up each track. And those people all in the beginning, when we did an all call, kind of raised their hand and said, hey, I'm interested in this subject. I would love to put on 5 events during Startup Week. What do you think? And so that's kind of how we went with that. Each of those tracks that I mentioned is headed up by an individual that is knowledgeable in that field or loves that field or topic. And so lots of passionate people about those subjects putting on events that they think that niche or sub-community would like to see, as well as promoting that little community that they have here to the rest of the community. So
cool. Now joining us, my co-host Kiki Shear.
Sorry that I'm late, guys. Sorry, Gracie.
All good. Hey, Kiki.
Hey. So I have to ask, which of the panels are you most looking forward to at this point?
That's a very good question.
Ooh, that's a tough question.
I know. I don't want to play favorites.
It's like picking children.
Yeah. So on Wednesday, we're having a really cool national pitch competition presented by 1776, which is a co-working space and incubator in DC. And so we're having the regional competition for that on the Wednesday night. And so anyone can still apply to pitch during that time. And the winners are going to actually go on to represent our Southeast region at the semifinals in DC about 2 weeks after that. And then hopefully, potentially represent us globally for that global competition that they're having. So that I'm really excited about. That should be a really good turnout. We're going to see lots of different tech startups and the like there. We're really trying to pull from the woodwork on that and try to get some startups that you maybe haven't heard of before. Mm-hmm. We're not 100% sure on who that final list is. We probably will be finalizing that in the next week, but that's a really exciting one.
Can you tell me for a second about, in that pitch competition, it sounds like these are organizations that are kind of like up and running, or they've been conceived a bit to begin with.
Yep.
What is that background typically for that organization that winds up as one of your pitch competition contestants?
So this is the first year that we're doing it, and the first year that 1776 is really spreading the competition to a national and global level. So they're really looking for companies that are past idea stage in the way of they've kind of done their market research. They have something built, whether it's a prototype or have launched a beta or have launched their company in general. And there are a couple of different topic categories. I think there's 10 different industry sectors that they're looking for us to cover. I couldn't name them off the top of my head right now, but we're looking to fill all of those. And so that's kind of the criteria for pitching at that event.
What would you say is the average? You gave kind of an idea, I suppose, because if you think about what it would take to put together a prototype or something of that matter, but what would you say is like the average age of the companies that get involved in that?
Yeah, so probably the youngest is probably 6 months. So, you can do a lot in 6 months, right? Mm-hmm. But probably about a year and a half is the average. Yeah.
Yeah, I would imagine anyone involved with Startup Weekend has a bit of an idea what could be done in 6 months if they
Oh
do
yeah,
2
for
days.
sure. For sure.
That's very cool. I know the one that sounds most exciting to me is the craft beer track, just off the top of my head, because I love beer. So.
Yeah, they're doing some really cool stuff. They are doing on Monday. They're doing a beer judging panel where there's a whole side of craft beer that is judging that people don't really realize about. A lot of beer connoisseurs know how to taste beer and taste the different things that are in beer and the age of it, etc. But they're really going to dive into what it means to judge beer, how to get into beer judging, because it's actually kind of easy. And they're going to show you exactly what it means to judge a beer. So that's going to be kind of cool. We'll have a Beyond Brewing event on the Wednesday of the week, where we'll bring in, it'll kind of be like an expo where we'll bring in all of the tech companies that help the beer industry. And so
that's cool.
Yeah. So, I mean, I guess it's not limited to tech, actually. So we'll have the people that make soap out of the hops of the beer and the leftovers of the beer. And we'll have a tech company there that creates a CRM for the beer industry, and all different kinds of stuff. So
that's very interesting. I think it's a cool area because it is, particularly in Tampa, we're seeing that as one of the, I guess, like entrepreneurial hot spots of where there is a lot of activity. And as you mentioned, it's not just the breweries, it's all the peripheral, businesses that are forming around that as well.
Yeah, there's really a pretty large effect that the craft beer industry has here on our community and our city. So, yeah.
That's awesome.
Well, thank you, Gracie. I appreciate that. And I think this is a good start. I'm looking forward. Tampa Bay Startup Week was an amazing event last year. And I think the fact that we're selected as a community to host that is just a testament to what we're trying to do here in the region. And
yeah, for sure.
With that,
when you talk about that, Vinny, is there are there certain regions or certain cities that are selected around the country and that kind of thing? I'm not familiar as much with the national aspect.
Yeah. We were chosen last year as one of 7 cities to pilot the Startup Week program.
Wow.
Nationally, and we proved that it was good here in our community, and they asked us to do it again this year, and they're slowly expanding what cities they offer it in. And so they chose again this year and likely for many years to come. So
that is very cool.
Boom.
Yep.
Well, want to go on to, we've got some news to announce this morning, and going to go through a few of our presenters, and we've got at least one of them still on here as well. And want to start off by saying I'm at the Pointer Institute this morning, where I'm doing this webcast from. And when it comes to media studies and journalism, we have a keynote presenter is Emily Brick. And Emily Brick is a senior product designer for BuzzFeed. So very excited to have BuzzFeed involved. And I'm going to read a little bit here off of her bio for you and kind of, I've almost got it, sorry. But she spends her time making the internet a better place and pursuing cat articles. A better place and pursuing cat articles. Previously, she's designed for Birchbox, NBC Sports, and most recently Shapeways, 3D printing marketing place. When she's not designing or writing CSS, she can be found relaxing in Brooklyn with her 2-year-old pit bull. And the subject area we're going to be doing with Emily and some of our other segments is going to be on information architecture and design philosophy and how it affects not only the digital world, but the real world. So,
nice. I think BuzzFeed is going to have to be such a player in the future of media. It's like going to be very exciting to hear from somebody working at BuzzFeed.
Yeah, that's really cool.
Yeah. I'm going to dip out for a second so that Savannah can come in. Sorry.
All right. And our next announcement, of course, Savannah Peterson, who is here with us for our initial launch of Gasparilla Interactive last March.
Oh, good morning. It's a little early
Hi.
on the West Coast. Forgive my morning face.
It is. Good morning and welcome. I'm so glad you made it.
Here you go. I'm happy this is happening again. I'm happy to be a part of year 2.
And Savannah actually worked with Emily at Shapeways. And so really want to thank you for making that connection for us and bring a little bit more, another brand to the Gasparilla Interactive mix. And congratulations also on your big win this last week as a Forbes 30 under 30 in the consumer technology category.
Congratulations.
It's quite an honor.
Awesome.
Been quite a week, I'll tell you that much. That's why I don't have a voice. It's all good. It's all the good stuff. But yeah, thank you. I'm happy to bring that level of enthusiasm and seriousness to Tampa. It's an entrepreneurial ecosystem that deserves it. It's one I'm very proud to work with. And as you know, I'm obsessed with Tampa, and I look for any excuse to come back all the time. So I can't wait to be back.
That's awesome.
I'm actually, what Vinny hasn't mentioned yet is it's also my birthday. Gasparilla is on my birthday this year. So
oh boy, perfect.
Spending my birthday with all of you. It's going to be super fun. I can't wait. Yeah, if there's anything anyone really wants to talk about or that I may have touched on last year that they didn't hear enough of, I'd love to make this year even more in depth and awesome.
Do you have any initial thoughts on what you might bring to the conference already?
Well, so I feel sort of like I can fill the gaps a lot, and Vinny and I talk a lot about who's presenting what and what's going on. We've been working together very closely, so I feel like I'm kind of baiting it a little bit to see what might need to be talked about that isn't getting covered in anything else to round out the whole conference.
Cool.
Obviously, like very comfortable and timely for me is talking about being young or being female and starting a company and actually like making that happen, but making it happen on a really big scale. And I think, I'm the first to admit I nominated myself for Forbes 30 under 30. 90% of life is showing up and participating. And I wanted to challenge them to find 30 people better than me than to find me out of 1 million people. So
Ooh, I love that mindset. That's awesome.
Way to think about it.
And I think I'm speaking in London in just a couple weeks, and I think I might test something out that I want to try at Gasparilla that's a little more kind of empowering and like crowd involved and getting people to show up or to sign up for whatever they're not signing up for and actually like verbalize it. And so. I
tend to think of London as our guinea pigs. Like we kind of run things there that, if maybe they work, maybe they don't.
Yeah, that's how I see it. I mean, I'm loyal and a huge fan of Gasparilla, and I don't often return to conferences, so that says a lot. And so London, totally guinea pig, going to their whole little startup scene out there, whatever. They're on the other side.
I've been following that Silicon Beach, and we've been talking back and forth between Tampa Bay and London about their conference and our conference. Really interested to see what comes out of there as well.
That sounds cool.
Yeah, cool. Their lineup is all female, actually, which is really impressive. And Matt, I've been joking that the conference organizer is just a womanizer, but it's totally not true. And that's like fair after I'm like, yeah, we go. But it's awesome because it's Google, it's a bunch of other big companies, and it's all ladies, so it should be fun. But I feel like I'm so pumped. Tampa is 2 days this year, Vinny. I'm not sure why you left us, but that's okay. Nice of him to organize it.
I think it was all the talk about the women-only stuff. I kind of felt like maybe I should get back in here, so I don't know what's going on.
Yeah, I like it. What are you guys most excited about? I'm just going to plunge my coffee here. Don't mind me.
I think that we're just learning the details now about what's going to be involved. So, to me, the most exciting thing is there is just an additional level of planning and a lot more organization going behind it this year. I think last year was really exciting and fun, and I thought of that, and I think Vinny did to an extent as sort of the proof of concept. So, we got that one out there. Everybody loved it. Everybody that showed up had a great time and thought that it was a thing that there should have been 10 times as many people attending because it was so valuable. So I think that sets us on a good course.
Absolutely. I definitely think that it was great and a really good proof of concept. If you could see one company or one person at a Gasparilla this year or in the years of the future, who would it be for you both?
Ooh.
Mark Zuckerberg.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Ooh, he's shooting for the stars.
Yeah, I mean, why not?
That's fine. I mean, you gotta start with it somewhere.
Ashton Kutcher.
Oh, that's good too.
Nice. He's been on my mind, actually. I want to interview him for a podcast I'm doing.
That's cool.
So obviously another long shot, right? Like I'm not much closer to these people than anybody else. But do you guys remember when he made that whole speech at the Teen Choice Awards like 2-3 years ago? Telling women. So he was talking about when he was
right. Yes, I do.
Yeah, when he was Chris and when he wasn't Ashton, before he was a movie star, and the sexiest thing a woman can do is be smart. And he just went off on that. It was like one of the sweetest little anecdotes I think I'd ever seen really someone say, especially at that level, especially when you're an underwear model, talking about how important and sexy brains are. So I would love to see him at Gasparilla too. And I'd love to get on a podcast talking about that.
Yeah.
I'm all for it. Oh yeah, I'm glad you dropped it in the comments. It is really good if you've never watched that.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome.
Random,
I'm gonna duck out, so
I think I'm back on. Am I back on?
Any comments
You're
here?
here, lady.
Yeah.
That was risky. I opened up another tab and went directly to Blab and double
blabber
in.
yourself.
I double blab.
Dude, you double blabber.
I did. So now I'm here. It's a little smaller on my screen, but it still works, so we're good. I'm not touching anything. So Carl jumped off to let Kiki in, I think. But
yes.
So I want to, on the 30 under 30 thing, Sav, we've got a surprise for you. We have a 30 under 30 from Tampa that's going to be there as well.
Oh my God, that's so great!
Yes. Phil Michaels is a University of Tampa graduate, and they were part of a social entrepreneurship company. They started as part of the Holt Prize as the Clinton Global Initiative. They were one of 6 teams to be finalists to compete in New York City. They didn't win the final $1 million, but they are operating a business on the ground in Nigeria. And so he's going to be talking about social enterprise and entrepreneurship.
Yeah.
And so
he's in the social enterprise.
You know how I love serendipity. And
that is so cool. Wow. What does that say about Tampa's ecosystem, though, attracting all these young, very aggressive minds in a good way? That's awesome.
I think
that's really exciting. Phil's really cool, and Tembo's a really cool concept, and they've been getting a lot of traction and a lot of press. Cool. And that's really cool that you guys are having him too.
Yeah. Now I'll feel like the capitalist asshole. Versus social enterprise. Thanks a lot, Vinny. I'm gonna go get my coffee.
You can't be a social enterprise without being a capitalist first. You got to do both. It's about walking and chewing gum at the same time.
It is. If there's no capital, there's no enterprise, period. So
I'd like
to see you make it happen without that.
I think it'll be fun. Another presenter we have, and hold on, I think Carl's back in here. Another presenter we have also is a best-selling author, and I'm putting this up here because I'm moving everybody live to the website as I announce them, so it's a little bit of everything right now.
Oh, wow.
But this is
like a first to know thing.
Taylor Pearson is the author of End of Jobs. And this is an amazing book about how entrepreneurship is the new, safer way to do your career as opposed to looking for a job. And so
I love that.
Just phenomenal guy, really energetic, really well-written book. Savannah actually did a mastermind with him, I believe, is where you met him.
Yep, I met him with my clothing off in the Bahamas.
That was the yoga incident, right?
Yeah, it was something like that. An entrepreneurial retreat in the Bahamas, and he was on my team to get across the lava, and the rest was history. You know how those activities go. It's like to lay down pieces of cardboard and survive on the sand from the lava monster.
I wish
They're
always really weird.
That's awesome. Wait, what was the thing that you did? I also went to the Bahamas and did an entrepreneurial retreat.
Dude, sweetness.
It was called Starter Island.
Oh wow, that's a cooler, more like I feel like there was more adventure on your island than there was on. I was at, it was called Elevate, and I was there at the end of July. It's like the last 5 days of July.
Cool.
Like, yeah. When was yours?
It was in August, end of August.
Mm.
Yeah.
Bahamas is super legit. I'd never been. Little aside.
Yeah.
Taylor's loving it though. Taylor's going to be great. Taylor's a sleeper. You will not expect the profoundness that comes out of this kid. I'm going to say kid because he's young. He's even younger than I am. He's one of the few I can call kid. And yeah, he's just a very talented, very inspiring, smart creature. Yeah, he's got a real presence to him too. I'm super pumped to get him on the lineup this year.
I'm excited. I'm very excited for that. I think, yeah, and we've got another regional speaker here is Jorge Bro. He is the CEO and founder of a company called Symphonic Distribution here just a little north of Tampa. And what they do is they are a distributor for digital music for artists where they handle, you're an artist, you submit and you use their service, and basically your music is distributed through them to all the other places like Spotify, Pandora, iTunes, etc. And what they do is they aggregate your results and your sales, as well as handle your royalties and whatnot as well. So
Very cool.
That's going to be part of our digital media content, which we're going to have other announcements in the coming weeks in digital media, both in film and audio broadcasting.
Excellent.
Cool.
Ooh, I have someone I want to talk to you about for the film. Vinny, remind me after this. Sorry, just triggered.
Okay.
HBO. I could get someone from HBO if we want them, and I forgot.
That's why we have props. Oops.
Never heard of it.
Yeah, I know. Me neither. There's like
They're not available on Netflix, right?
No, I don't. Yeah.
It was nice. I want to wake up with you guys more often. This is a lot easier. It's funny because I feel like you're like thinking about lunch, and I'm literally just starting to open my eyes. But this is good. I feel good about this.
So we've got another area. This is in the medical research. And this is another just profound idea. This is a woman, Patricia Lawman, Pat Lawman. She's the CEO and founder of a company called Morphogenesis here in Tampa Bay. And what they do is they have a therapeutic cancer vaccine that is currently available for use in canines and equestrians and dogs and in your dogs and horses. And they are now looking for funding to move to human trials and testing and to get it through that process. So not only going to learn about what this really cool technology in the medical space is, but we're also going to have a conversation about funding medical research and funding bringing products and life-saving drugs to market. So exciting subject.
That's pretty amazing. A cancer vaccine?
Therapeutic, and that's it took me a minute to get my head around that. So it is. It's not a vaccine that you get before you get infected with a disease, but it's a vaccine in the fact that it allows your own immune system to defeat the cancer, as opposed to a radiation treatment that basically kills the whole body and hopes that you survive from it.
Right. Oh my gosh, that's so cool.
Pretty amazing technology.
And that's a confirmed speaker at this point?
Yes.
That's excellent.
And like I said, we'll also be talking about copyright and intellectual property and comparisons between copyright of, say, characters and brands composed to patent protections, which only are very limited in structure, and part of the reason why medical costs are so high on the drug side.
Very cool.
So all the good feels this year, Vinny.
I'm loving it. It's just
Really into it.
Yeah, I think you'll get a lot of interest on that because there's a lot of health tech stuff happening here in Tampa with like USF Health, and they're bringing their medical school and all kinds of stuff. So that's cool.
Well, and Gracie, you were saying that's one of the tracks for our startup week coming up too, right?
Yeah, our track is more so health and fitness, so fitness related, healthy lifestyle. But there'll be some fitness tech. I was going to say fintech, but fitness tech. A little different. Yeah.
No fee on that, like high fee, but
But yeah.
And back to the end of jobs and or the future of what work looks like. We've got another friend of Savannah's and mine, and we met at Social Fresh when it was here in Tampa in September. Is Vincenzo Landino, who was on earlier, and I think he was maybe going to try to check in, but he did sign off. But really cool guy, just energetic, is a strong, consistent podcaster, Periscope, self-broadcasting, kind of how do you brand and market yourself, your company, and ideas, and just using technology. He does a Scope broadcast every Sunday morning at 9 a.m. called Scope Past Sunday, where him, Amy Savannah, do you know her? Schumacher? Anyway,
No.
The three of them, they do a Scope, and basically they take 20 minutes apiece, and one does their 20 minutes on Scope, passes it to the next person. They do 20 minutes, and they usually, 150 plus people listen every Sunday and get passed from Scope to Scope to Scope. And it's just really unique ideas that I think he brings to how to position and talk about yourself and get over the hesitation that we all have of just being out there.
Yeah.
That's cool.
So excited for
pretty
Vincenzo. Another.
Yeah, I think one of the things that Vincenzo does best is we all talk a lot about it in sort of the live and vlogging communities, just being shameless. But he'll just turn it on when he's got a runny nose and he's sitting in his car. Like, it just doesn't matter.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's actually a really big part of the authenticity of the streaming movement. So
yeah, he's been a big influence on me over the last few months. It's the reason why, if you do look, and I haven't mentioned this yet, but follow on Snapchat at GasparillaIX, and we're going to be doing some really cool stuff with Snapchat. I've been watching around the country what other places and people are doing with it, and I think we're going to have some Snap takeovers, which is something that Yarby and Vincenzo turned me on to. That is just really unique way of kind of providing some more value in the next 58 days leading up to Gasparilla Interactive, and even for a way for us to interact with our community partners year round in a way that's not just sending out emails and retweeting stuff. It's a little bit more engaging.
Mm-hmm. That's cool.
That's a great idea.
And Adele is almost mandatory on Snapchat at some point.
yeah, I will also in leading up to this, I will do a Snap takeover for you, Vinny. I saw your email for sure while I'm in London. So
Excellent.
don't worry. We'll bring that for sure.
So, and go ahead.
I'm so behind the times on Snapchat. I just got to put it out there.
Can I change my Snapchat name? Does anyone know?
You can change your name, like the display name, but you can't change your username.
Okay, but I can change my display name because mine says I live in New York and it's been like a year. Okay, cool. Thank you. Big moves here this morning.
Good to know.
We're changing the world.
Yeah, for sure. One snap at a time, baby.
One Snapchat profile update at a time.
Where's this Massimo? Where's the ghost, man? They're really changing lives.
I love Snapchat. I'm like obsessed with Snapchat, so I feel like
Evan was a student of mine, and I made fun of Snapchat when he first came up with it. And all right, I regret that now.
yeah, it's a little bigger now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, actually, so I was just at CES, speaking of Snapchat, while we're just chatting.
Cool.
They had a Snapchat logo that they put on the Luxor, that's the pyramid in Vegas, that was so big you could see it from the tarmac of McCarran Airport.
Wow.
So I should tweet a picture right now or something so you can see it. It was ridiculous. Snapchat literally took over the entire casino, which is crazy.
Crazy.
Yeah,
That's
the amount
crazy.
of money at these things is crazy. That's one of the other things I like about Gasparilla is it's not just this. It's not just the big companies that can afford to show off.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody can show off the Gasparilla, which is really cool.
Yeah, so there was like a Snapchat billboard in Tampa, I guess, that went up. Did you see that, Carl?
Yeah, I was just Just the logo, pretty much, I think.
Yeah, it's just a logo, and like that's it, no words or nothing. And so there's like a
Nothing.
conspiracy like in our tech community that like that means that they're popping up a secret office here, and like where's the
Oh.
secret office? You know.
I think much like the rest of Snapchat, I didn't understand it at all. So,
Okay, back again.
welcome back. It seems like we lost Kiki. I don't know if she's around.
See her.
Oh, there was a Snapchat. Yeah, where has anyone else seen a Snapchat billboard anywhere interesting? I see there's one in Atlanta. We don't have them up here in the Bay, but I think they know. I think we've already adopted. I don't think they're trying to.
I want to say the Snapchat billboard was here in September when Social Fresh was here.
Mm.
Really? Oh, that would make a lot of sense.
I believe that's when it was here. If that's why, I don't know if that was part of Social Fresh masterminding. So,
Who knows?
Yeah.
did I lose another bet? No. Okay. So we've got one other presenter that we're gonna announce today, and that is Alex Rodriguez. He is the
cool.
author of another book, which I have here, and it's called Digital Bacon, and because everybody loves bacon, and digital bacon is better than. No, it's not better than real bacon. Let's be serious.
Dude, nothing is. Guys, calm down. Yeah.
But he's a dynamic speaker and is going to be talking about launching products, services, just launching in general. And then, we're going to put out some more information on subjects, but looking forward to that as well. I think it's going to be a good topic. I've watched him speak, and I think just going to be a good subject. And I think, like I said, we're kind of building on it. So that's only probably about a third of our presenters. We're still working on some other stuff. Some that I just kind of sort of confirmed yesterday. So I think we're gonna have some really cool stuff coming out over the next couple weeks, leading into the middle of February. Tickets are going to go on sale. Registration. Let me see if it is open now or not.
While you're doing that, I'll drop in a quick plug for Alex. Alex Rodriguez is a longtime friend of mine. It's pretty cool to see the things that he's been developing in the last several years. That book among them. I would challenge that the difference between digital bacon and real bacon is that digital bacon can help you get more real bacon. So in that way, it could be better.
Dude, also, I have 3D printed bacon, which is technically digital bacon. So we can go that way too if we really want to get meta about it.
Mm-hmm.
I like it. I love it. So yes, registration is now open on the GasparillaInteractive.org website.
Oh boy.
Regular registration for the conference is $200 for the 2-day event, and here we'll also be, through our community partners, we're going to be offering out some promotional codes to kind of make sure we circulate that way. And of course, we're still looking for founding sponsors and other partnerships that we have available. And we'll be releasing information about the expo and exhibitor area shortly as well.
Cool.
So,
where are you having it this year, Benny?
We're going to be having it at Hillsborough Community College, their Ybor City campus, in their main stage theater and performing arts building. And it'll be Thursday the 10th and 11th is the Friday. Our kind of after parties will be Thursday and Friday. And then we're going to be having a VIP presenter and kind of sponsor party at Gasparilla Music Festival on Saturday. And we're waiting to hear the lineup for that.
Do we know when it'll be? Do we have any idea when we'll know? Because some of us are excited.
I don't know yet. I met with David over the holiday break. I met with David Cox, as the executive director for the music festival, and definitely they're excited, and news is coming shortly.
Great.
Yeah. So the plan with Blab, Kiki is not on, but Carl and Kiki will be hosting at least another Blab this month, 2 in February and 1 in March before the conference. And we'll be using these to release more information, as well as then leaving them for rebroadcast afterwards so people can, in their own time, follow up. And using them to invite our community partners and our presenters to talk about what's going on.
Happy to be a part of it. Thanks, everyone. I don't know if we're wrapping up, but whatever. I'll just throw out thank yous anyway. It's really cool to have Savannah, to have you show up. Gracie, thank you so much for all the info on Startup Week. I'm excited for it. I hope I get to check out as much as possible.
Yeah, we'd love to have you guys come, maybe do a blab at Startup Week, and I don't know, maybe we can have some of your speakers come and talk about what's going on there. We can do like a live blab, and we can have like people listening to it in the room, and we can broadcast it. That'd be cool.
This is crazy.
I'm going to be sneaking around Tampa. I'm sneaking around Tampa Bay for the next 6 weeks with Snapchat too. So
there you go.
You want to see behind it.
Snapping.
Yeah.
It makes it snapping.
What's the Gasparilla Snapchat again?
It's at GasparillaIX is the Twitter handle, and GasparillaIX is the username for Snapchat. If you go to our Twitter page, though, you can download the snap code and just scan it. And The cool thing is, so our brand this year, and Shafino Lee is our agency. They do all the work pro bono, and they've come up with this idea of find your inspiration this year. But the really cool alien last year makes a really cool Snapchat ghost. So Alien is back in a subtle way this year as our Snapchat icon.
Love it.
Cool.
I'm glad to have him back.
For sure.
So, well, I guess I don't know if anybody's got any questions. There's 22 people live watching. If you put a Q with a colon, or no, a /Q, you can ask a question and it'll show up on our side here. So if you want to get a little creative and try this, ask anything.
You could learn anything through Gasparilla Interactive. What would it be?
And we can answer a question. So if anybody has any questions,
want to know what's in my cup? You can ask that too.
Space.
Yeah. I need my space.
Where's Kiki?
Lost my co-host. All gone.
Fair question.
Yeah, Savannah bringing the strong coffee game today.
Yes.
That was fun to watch. We watched you brew it. We watched you drink it.
We're about this
What
far
kind of
down. The French press, that's the size of my face. It's actually bigger than my head.
That is good. That's crucial.
That is
What kind of beans you brew in there?
This is actually a local blend. It's called the Pine and Taylor blend. It's the intersection of streets I live on here in San Francisco. Really
Ooh.
super
Hyper local.
Eric's got a...
And it's big and bold. Oh.
Awesome.
Links for everything Swan. I love that name, sidebar. Everything Swan.
Eric Ritter has a question, and I put the website for both, I think for both Startup Week and for Gasparilla Interactive. If you go to the contact forms on our websites, GasparillaInteractive.org or TampaBay.startupweek.co, you can sign up to volunteer for either organization or both, since they're not on the same days.
Yep.
So.
Yes.
We still have some people. So anybody got any questions? Because we're here to answer.
I'll ask a question in the meantime. What is is there a correlation between, this is for Gracie, is there a correlation between Startup Week and Startup Weekend?
That is a great question. It's really confusing, isn't it?
It's not. I don't know. It is or it isn't.
it is for people who like have heard of both things or one of both things and think that they're the other thing. Anyway, so way back when, Startup Weekend was organized by a group of people here locally. Many of those same people are also organizing Tampa Bay Startup Week, plus more, obviously. But they are both, I mean, I guess not owned is not the right word, but fall under the same umbrella company. Used to be Up Global, who is now acquired by Techstars. And so we report to them. They help us get funding for both events and help us with logistics of the events. money handling and kind of like best practices for both of those events. But the two events are completely separate from one another.
Okay. And then the weekend, so the week is coming up, that's February 8th to 12th. When does the weekend typically occur?
We typically do them twice a year, regular ones, usually in the spring time and in the fall during Global Entrepreneurship Week. And then we have what we call verticals for Startup Weekend. That we have like women's startup weekend, or we had a design startup weekend, talking about potentially doing a couple of different ones like maker or robotics this year. So that's when they happen.
Awesome.
That's super cool. Sidebar. That's awesome.
Thanks.
Vinny, it looks like there's a question for you in the sidebar there.
I did. I answered in text, and we're looking for help with our selection. So we're doing this in selection committees. So we've got some advisors that are helping with who we have on stage and what the content of the panels are. So those are still coming together. Like I said, we've got in the information architecture space what that looks like and how those conversations come together. Because it's been interesting. Like I said, a week ago, we didn't know we were going to have two Forbes 30 under 30s in the room at the same time. Now we do. It's the same way last year with Savannah. Why we had the women entrepreneurship panel last year was because all of a sudden we realized we had these powerful women on stage, and we had some people in our market, and we're like, let's do that subject. So we've got some holes for some serendipitous, creative ways to put people together on stage. And so, yeah, definitely just reach out to me personally at Vinny Tafuro, or at GasparillaIX, and we'll reach out and respond to anybody that wants to help out with helping select what this is going to look like, because it's a community event, and the community's got to make it theirs for it to be successful.
For sure.
We only want to talk about what you want to talk about, Tampa.
Yes.
I'm not there to hear myself talk. Side note on the because we should share more funny videos like this, and I feel really pretentious every time we talk about 30 under 30, despite it being awesome. There's a Forbes 10 under 10 video that you need to watch, because it will make everyone feel better about their age right now. It's little kids, like 6 and 7-year-old entrepreneurs.
What?
That's awesome.
Yeah, I will share the link with everyone, because it's just worth it.
Yeah, please do.
Maybe we'll get some of these little kids on stage next year.
That was awesome.
Kids are the best. Like, they have no fear. They haven't been tainted by society yet. Kids are awesome, especially like kid entrepreneurs.
Right. My friend's got her daughter in DeLand, Florida. A minipreneur is what she calls her.
Oh, there we go.
She has her own product on her mom's Etsy store.
Okay.
Which is just
That's fun.
an awesome thing. And that announcement just went up on Snapchat too. Again, GasparillaIX on Snapchat. Do it.
I was wondering it looked like you were taking a selfie there, Vinny.
No, I was filming the black.
Okay.
And if you have any other questions that come in, we've got a few people watching now. We're actually, wow, it's been
We've
very
had
happy
over
to share.
It's awesome.
Yeah,
Love it.
no, this is great. I love it. Don't want to let it go. Do we have actually, Savannah, do you want to tell us anything about London? Is there anything you can say about that, or any other things that are going on?
So this is really there are a lot of parallels actually between London and Tampa, believe it or not. And one of the things that's really cool is I feel like there's a lot of communities in somewhat unexpected and not historically technology hub locations that are really embracing the idea of having interactive conferences like this. And I think, Vinny, you guys in Tampa were definitely some of the first, but it's been really interesting. LA is one of the cities LA kind of has its own tech scene, but LA has been doing this event called Silicon Beach Fest without the ED for, I believe, 4 years now. And they attracted a bunch of Brits this year that came over actually in a posse of 20 that run their own little festival, and had been doing it on the shore of the UK, not actually in London, but in a tiny little town. And they were inspired by the event and got a bunch of bigger sponsorship. So they decided to move it to London, which is fun because it's kind of like, if Gasparilla ever got so big it needed to be in multiple cities or do something like that, they're kind of at that stage, which is exciting. And I had kind of drunkenly challenged Matt, the guy who's coordinating the whole thing, when I saw him in July, to make it an all-female lineup, but not do it intentionally. So not say, oh, we only want female speakers, but just find the talented women and say nothing about it until it's happened. And it was really cool because that's exactly what he did. And he came back to me and didn't ask me to jump on board until there were already 9 other women. And he was like, look what I did. You want to like, yeah, obviously. But so it's super cool because I think it's one of the first that was non-intentionally organized that way, but actually came out that way, which is a really good sign. And I think it can set an example, not only in Europe, but for all the sort of smaller ecosystems. Because I think in the Silicon Valley, like, it's going to take a really long time for the ratio to change. I'm always going to be the only bitch in the boardroom for a long time. That's okay. But I think in communities like Tampa and even like London and really anywhere but here in New York City, you have an opportunity for women who are already established in the community in a variety of different ways to very easily become established and known for entrepreneurship and for technology and for leadership. So I think it's really cool that they're celebrating that. I think it's really cool that Vinny and Gasparilla and all of you obviously celebrate that. I mean, even the folks you've had on from Tampa, it's been 50-50 male-female. And like, that's awesome. Generally speaking, I'm not for us just completely ousting an entire lineup of men and only having chicks, but we kind of have to do it every now and again because of how many are so blatantly off, which is just sad. But yeah, so London is going to be awesome. If anyone wants to come over to the UK, I can give you a comp ticket. Obviously, it's not the most beautiful time to be in London, but it's going to be fun. And also, if anyone out there that's not in Tampa or in SF, we're kind of in our zones over here, that's ever looking for female speakers or co-hosts or writers or bloggers, I'm sure Gracie, Carl, Vinny, and myself all know women doing cool shit that we could
Absolutely. Yeah, for sure.
I'm super over the excuse that we're not out there. That's not true. That's just like a lie. Look at half this screen. So reach out, don't be shy. That pretty lady probably has a brain too. Get after it. Yeah.
When you talk about multiple cities, and this a little history on Gasparilla, because a lot of people are like, what's Gasparilla mean with an interactive conference? And if you're from Tampa Bay, and especially Tampa, the brand Gasparilla was created back in 1904 as a parade and pirate festival, and it's been going strong for 110 years. And in the last 20 years, well, actually, we have an art festival in March, the weekend before our event, that has been going 46 years, the Raymond James Gasparilla Festival of Arts. And then our event is the newcomer. We're going into year 2, the Gasparilla Interactive Conference. And then the weekend after, we have the Gasparilla Music Festival. They're going into year 5. And then at the end of March, we have the Gasparilla International Film Festival. And so the month of March is called Cultural Arts Month here. And when you talk about other cities, what we've been really working hard to do with Interactive is make sure it is a Tampa Bay regional event, which is why I'm over in St. Petersburg today at the Poynter Institute, why we were at the Greenhouse this morning, which is a program of the St. Pete Chamber, and was at their 1 million cups. And to make sure that as this does grow, if there is a multi-venue way or a multi-city way to do an interactive conference, knock on wood, we have a ferry service that goes between downtown Tampa and downtown St. Petersburg. So we can easily do a conference that spans the bay and uses our unique waterfront in March to host a conference, as opposed to busing people.
Guys, I'm so sorry. I have a 9 o'clock that's actually on time. I was kind of hoping they were keeping me on time. Mwah. Can't wait to see you all in Tampa. It's going to be great.
Bye, Savannah.
Bye, Savannah. Nice meeting you.
Bye.
So on that note, we've got any final words before we close out? We're at an hour, and we want to make sure this is digestible when we rebroadcast it too, and let everybody get along their day.
Good call.
No, I think it's awesome. I would love to talk offline about how we can make sure that Gasparilla Interactive has a presence at Startup Week too. So
that sounds
Excellent.
like a lot of fun. I'd definitely be excited to do that if we get the opportunity. So
yeah, for sure.
Cool.
Okay.
Well,
And,
thanks, guys. Thanks to our audience.
Thank you, everybody. We're going to sign off, and it will be available for replay. I'm just trying to
Alrighty.
follow it.